Okay, everyone. Welcome back to the third and final part of Ask the King for November 26, 2015. Let's jump into it because we've got about 2 pages left of questions to get through. All right. First question from Eric. He says, Phil, I admire your honesty and hope you can answer my question since you're quite open about this. I know you'll probably get this a lot, but what's up with you and John Rambo? Did you have a falling out? Is it because you two were far away? I'd like to hear your thoughts on the matter. Thank you. The bottom line is this. I will be completely 100% honest with you. And, people will probably try to make shit up or say they don't believe me because they want to believe drama queen shit. The bottom line is this. When I lived in Connecticut for years, John and I did co-op commentary, co-op gameplay. We did this show Smart Guys. We traveled together. We did Street Fighter gameplay together. We did a lot of stuff, projects and everything together. In all of that time, all right, in all of the time that we did that stuff together, I could think of maybe 1 to 2 times ever that we ever had a disagreement on something. And even then, it was something that was minor and that was handled quickly. And it wasn't that we ever let it get to the point where business would hinder friendship. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the big risk that you take when you go into business with someone, that it might negatively affect the relationship that you have the person outside of the business. And even though we treated the whole YouTube thing that we did together as like just a casual, silly thing, there was money involved and there were other factors involved. The bottom line is, never in that entire period of time, before I moved out of Connecticut, did I ever get any, ever have any ill will or feelings toward John. Never did he have any real major ill will or feelings towards me that I knew of. He never said anything about money. He got paid for everything that he was involved in. He never said anything about money or anything like that. And we had great agreements that were going on. And when I left Connecticut, where we left it at, was that I was going to move here. It was going to take me a couple months to get set up, everything with work or whatever. But I was going to contact him in early fall, let him know when I was fully up and running again. And that I wanted to continue to do stuff, whether it was Smart Guys via Skype and gameplay, cooperatively over the internet. And obviously, John didn't have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and we were going to try to coordinate it and figure out what could he or couldn't he do for gameplay. Would we do stuff last gen? Would there be other stuff? We were going to figure it all out, okay? And that's where we left it. Now, John came, he helped me pack all the stuff up. When I was leaving in June of last year, he came and helped pack up and helped me move out of my place in Connecticut, okay? And we stayed in contact. I talked to him via text a lot. We were talking about different things going on with the move. I talked to him about TV shows and stuff going on. I was asking him about what was going on with Schnozman a Hole Punch, and we stayed in contact regarding that. And the way we left it was that later in the year, once he was done with Schnozman a Hole Punch, we were going to talk again about the possibility of coming back together and doing, content over the internet again. And then in late 2014, finally, we had a conversation. He says, listen, I'm going to make this abundantly clear, so there's no misconceptions. At this point, I'm kind of burnt out on the whole YouTube thing. I really don't even want to put a lot of effort into my stuff. I put all this effort into Schnozman a Hole Punch, and that's really where I exerted all of my effort, and that's what I focused on, and that's really all I really care about at this point. I mean, it was cool that we did all the YouTube stuff previously, but I don't really care to be, involved with anything from your YouTube channels at this point, and if that changes, I'll let you know. I said, okay, fine. I won't even, great. I won't even bring it up if you don't, right? There's no reason for us to really bring it up or anything any further. And then I remember as last year progressed even further, I would text him, and every once in a while he would text me back. It was like we were almost losing touch. We didn't have as much contact. Now, if you remember, traditionally I would be on John's podcast for the Black Friday episode. Every year he would have like a special Black Friday episode where they go through ads and stuff about Black Friday. And last year in particular, I hadn't heard from him, so I actually texted him and said, FYI, John, I'll be available if you want me to be on, but I haven't heard from you yet, so I'm assuming maybe you don't want me to be on or whatever. That's fine. And he never really responded. I didn't really hear from him much. I wished him a Merry Christmas later that year. He did respond to that. And then less and less I heard from him. It wasn't like there was any argument, there was a falling out or anything. None of that happened. So if anything actually happened behind the scenes with John or Howard or whatever happened with the people back in Connecticut, right, who I used to do stuff with all the time, it's 100% on their end, and it was never actually brought to my attention at all. So I am completely in the dark in this situation. What ended up happening was I did continue to once in a while contact John on stuff. And sometimes he would respond and sometimes he wouldn't. And I actually remember the last major time that I actually had any kind of interaction with John Rambo was in early 2015. He launched the DVD, the Blu-ray release of Schnoz Man a Hole Punch. And when he did release it, I retweeted him. I let everyone know, gee, you should maybe buy some of this. I bought a DVD myself. And he even signed it. You know, I guess every DVD he sold, he signed it. And he actually wrote on there, thanks for all the good times that we had together. You know, John. So that was the signature he put on the DVD. Does that sound like anything negative? No, that sounds great. Like, he's like, you know, it sucks that we don't do stuff together anymore because you moved, but thanks for the good times we had. That's literally like what he wrote on the DVD. And then after that, I have no clue. I've not heard from John since then. He doesn't ever write me. He doesn't call me. He doesn't text me. Nothing. And I did try actively to contact him and talk to him over the course of the year. And basically, I heard nothing whatsoever from John Rambo at all since then. So I have no idea what happened. If something happened in particular that turned him off or got him angry at me. The bottom line is it's never been brought up. And I'm going to say this, and I hope that people don't take this the wrong way. But in life, if you have something that you want to say or you have an issue with someone, all right, say it. Bring it up. Hash it out. Don't let resentment build up behind the scenes for whatever amount of time or whatever. Because that's what happens. Is then, if something happens and you don't bring it up and you let resentment build up, that's when relationships get ruined, right? And the bottom line is, did I ever hear or even get wind of anything negative from John or Howard or anyone from that camp who I used to do stuff with in Connecticut until I moved? No, not once. And in fact, we even had remember that we had the big going away party in June of last year, and they all came. They were all there. We had fun. We had a blast together. We were drinking. We were playing games, eating, having a lot of fun. And it was like nothing's wrong. And then all of a sudden, once I moved, it was like, that's it. Well, Phil's gone. So now he's out of our lives. It almost feels like to me like they're saying, well, he abandoned us. You know, we used to do all this fun stuff together. He's not here anymore. So now we're mad at him or something. I don't know. But it is, again, it's speculation. Anything that I could possibly say about a John Rambo situation is pure and utter speculation, because I've been completely in the dark over the whole situation since it began, if it even began. So that's why people want to start all this fucking shit, right? All this drama and controversial shit. They must have had a disagreement about money. Phil must have revealed something really personal or something. Nothing ever happened. At least from my side, zippo. I was never contacted, never told, never ever got an inkling that there was something wrong. So if there was anything that ever went wrong between my relationship with John or Howard or anyone back in Connecticut, it's on their side. They let it build up. They let the resentment build up on their side without ever speaking up. And I hate to say it, but in real life, if you're mature, if you are a man, you will speak up about an issue. You will not let it linger and resent and build and fester into some kind of a negative thing where you don't want to talk to someone again. And then you're going to even at some points talk shit about them and stuff. See, I would never do that because I have no reason to talk shit about people who I have always had a great relationship with. So for me, I have no clue if there's any negativity, any resentment. I have no idea, and I'm still in the dark to this day. So that's why when people ask me straight up, what's up with John Rambo? I say, ask John Rambo, because I have no clue. I'm literally in the dark. Nothing was ever brought up, and unless John kept mailing me letters and they went to a dead address, but he didn't realize it, so I didn't know he had a problem with me. No, obviously I'm just being silly. No, it just never happened, so I have no idea. I mean, I'm literally in the dark. That's the bottom line. That's the whole situation. There is no situation. I don't know. And it's a shame. It's a shame because that was a long-standing relationship that I had. You know, the mid-2000s, I met John, and whether we're a Street Fighter or us just doing other stuff on YouTube, I always had a blast with him. So I don't know what his problem is, and I have no control over it. He doesn't talk to me anymore. He won't even respond. If I text him or call him, I don't get anything back. So from my situation, from my perspective, it's not even a relationship anymore. It's over, and it's 100% on him because I had nothing to do with it. There you go. Okay, next question is from HorrorPunks610. He says, I'd like to know your opinion on creators, namely game developers, changing the content of their games based on public outcry and outrage. Is it better to oblige to people's demands to avoid further backlash, or should the artists stick to their guns and maintain their original vision regardless of what people think? And this actually ties into another question that I'm going to read you. I purposely put both of them down on here. Here's this one. This one's from Silent Warrior 25. He says, lately there's been a lot of controversy in regards to Nintendo of America and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Nintendo of America decided to censor the game by removing the bust slider for female character customization, so that all female created characters now have the same size bust. I'm not big on creating my own characters, but I can understand that some people love creating their own characters, and they'd be upset by this. However, some people are outright boycotting this game because of the removal. I have no idea why they would remove it, or why, if they've even given a reason for it, but in my opinion, these people are kind of overreacting, given that this game seems like it's going to have a ton of content. There's going to be 3 free DLCs. Basically, I want to hear your take on it. Do you think that they're blowing it out of proportion? All right. So the whole issue here is censorship and listening to this new movement, this social justice warriors, the people who want to nitpick and find little issues with every single possible fucking thing under the sun and say that they're bad or they're wrong or they're not PC or politically correct. The bottom line is this: no matter what you do, you will offend someone. It doesn't matter. If I take this piece of paper and I fold it like this, I just offended the paper straight movement. We're people who don't like papers that are folded. Seriously, in life, you will never be able to do something and not offend anyone. I don't think it's possible. No matter what, someone's going to dislike what you do or be angry or disagree or be offended. So when it comes to game development, just like any artistic development, you should stick to the core of what you think you wanted to do artistically, okay? Now, I'm not saying that things that are crude and rude or ridiculous and over the top for the sake of being that, and that they jump on the sensationalist bandwagon, that those are any good or valid. For example, perfect example here. There was a game that came out earlier this year. What the hell was it called? Rage? I don't remember what it's called. It was the game that you were a mass murderer, and there was no purpose behind what you were doing. All you were doing was mass killing people, and that was the whole game. That was it. That was the whole purpose. The premise of the game was to just slaughter innocent people, and that's why the game was created. And the game was sold like that and marketed like that. And because of the sensationalist bullshit, people bought the game, and the game was terrible. The game was a horrible piece of shit, and most people who played it said the game was garbage, and it should have never been made, and really it was just a cash-in. Let's make a game based off of wanton killing, and it'll make money. Do I stand behind that? No. But if you have an artistic vision, right? If there's a reason for violence or a reason for sexuality or a reason for something that may not be PC or acceptable to all audiences or age groups, it's okay if it's in reference and it has meaning. If there's something behind it, I'm okay with it. If you're doing character customization and you want your character to look different, and if actually making the boobs bigger or smaller can add to the character or make them significantly look a lot different, then yeah, it should be in there. If the boobs are just in there for sexuality, then no. If you're making character customization, I think that chest size, right? And it should be for males too. You can make giant heaving muscular pecs, or you can make tiny little shriveled nipples, little mini thing, flat-chested dudes. Same thing with women. It could be an over-sexualized woman. That's her character. She's an Amazonian warrior, right? Who she really strongly prides herself on the fact that she's beautiful, but she's also strong and she fucks you up. That could be a character. So why not put that option in the game? Why are game developers fucking curtailing to social media idiots? The thing is, and I will stick by this statement, the people who are on social media complaining about this kind of shit, number one, have too much fucking free time on their hands and they don't have lives. If they had a life, they wouldn't be sitting there complaining about every little thing. They'd be so busy with their own lives and their own enjoyment and things going on, they wouldn't have time to criticize every little thing. And number two, they don't buy the fucking video games. Do you really think the people who complained about the bust size slider on Xenoblade Chronicles were going to be the majority of people who buy Xenoblade Chronicles? No! You're wasting your time catering to the minority of vocal idiots. They are the vocal minority. And they should be fucking told, fuck you, stop being little bitches about every little thing. Now, there's not a blanket statement here saying that it's always bad and that everything that social justice warriors do is bad. No, in fact, their intentions behind the things that they do a lot of times are pure, right? No, we shouldn't have a game where the entire game is breast manipulation, physics, and mechanics, and that's stupid. I agree. But at the same time, stop letting them affect your creative vision. Having a character creation tool nerfed because of something that someone on social media might say is fucking ridiculous. Man the fuck up and stop being pussies about every little thing. If you've got time to complain about every little thing in life, you need to get one. Because if you actually had a life, you wouldn't have time to nitpick everyone else's shit. Okay, next question. Let's see here. We're running out of time, so I'm going to skip a few of these that weren't some of the best ones. This one I did want to particularly bring up because this is a pertinent one, especially when it comes to me, I think. All right. So this one is from Das Gooch, okay? Or Marcus. He says, I've been a fan since 2008. You got me through high school and now through college. My question for you is two parts. As a college... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He had a second question that really had nothing to do with this, so I just wanted to answer the first half of his question, which is this. As a college student at UCLA, I was told to major in what you'll make money in and not what you love, but you should minor in what you love. What's your opinion on that? So basically, he was told, probably by guidance counselors and people there, focus on your studies, your academics, on a job that's going to make you money, and then take a minor in the thing that you actually like. And you know, that's sad. It's sad because it is gripping reality, and it is very true for most people. I am one of the very few people on this planet that for the past 5 years, well, it's been early 2001 to now, so I guess technically that's what, 4.5 years, almost 5 years. I've been able to make a living doing what I love, gaming, playing video games, reviewing video games, sharing that experience with you, joking around, having fun. That's what I've been able to share with you and make a living doing for the past several years. Most people don't get to do that. Most people, they have a hobby or a job or I'm sorry, a hobby or a love or an affinity for something, and they wish they could do it and they can't. You know, right now, I'm sure there are people that I would love to open up this kind of store and make this product and sell it to people and just do that for the rest of my life. I would like to paint. I would like to dance. I would like to sing. I would like to play a sport. Everyone has aspirations, right? And unfortunately, those aspirations, a lot of us, when we become adults, they go away. Crippling reality comes and hits us in the head and says, sorry, realistically, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be a physically gifted athlete. You're not going to be, an amazing artist, or you're not going to be... How many people out there have great singing voices, and what small percentage actually make it in this life singing, right? So I am very lucky in that regard. And the bottom line is, yeah, when I was going to college... Do you think I really cared when I went to college for finance about finance? Not really. Who the fuck could say, I love finance? I love numbers and stocks and bonds and fucking loans and credit cards and debt and percentage rates and revolving versus fixed interest rates. And who the fuck likes that shit? That's stuff you learn to get by in life so you understand you don't get bamboozled and you can afford shit in your life. That's not stuff that you love. You know what I mean? Who the fuck goes to school and says, I love business finance? No one. So, or if they do, it's a very rare situation. So I can understand. Basically, you know who told you that? Das Gooch? I'll tell you who told you that. People who, unfortunately, in their lives have never been able to do what they love for a living. And that's sad because that's most people. And if more people were able to do what they love for a living, they'd probably be much happier people. The world would be a much different place than it is right now. So understand that when you see someone like me, I'm lucky, and listen, I'm very thankful for it. I already made a Thanksgiving special video today about how lucky my life is and how different it is from other people's, and I'm very grateful to have a successful business and to keep being able to do that. And what they're giving you isn't really positive advice. What it is practical, pragmatic advice. Don't be a drifter or a dreamer. I want to be a pro athlete, but you don't have any of the aspects of a pro athlete, and you're not very physically good at anything. You're probably not going to be a pro athlete. Give it up and go study something in school so you can at least pay your bills for the rest of your life. I can understand that as viable advice. Okay. I've got maybe 2 more forum questions, and then we're actually going to get into Twitter, Facebook, which will be very quick. So we're at the very end here, all right? Next forum question is from a Roman 318, and he asks the following. Unfortunately, due to your copyright strike against DSP Gaming, which is not true, it's not a copyright strike, it's a fake copyright strike, and it has been removed, by the way, you took down all of your Nintendo 3DS videos and set them to private. I really love your Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright playthrough with your funny commentary and hilarious voice acting. My question is, what are the fate of all your Nintendo 3DS playthroughs? Will you continue to do them as the years go on? And what is your strategy if you ever decide to use it? Well, it's very simple. It actually is this is a simple answer. Because of YouTube's broken false flagging copyright system, and because there is no defense against it because it is an automated broken process that YouTube to this point refuses to fix or improve, I cannot make any of those Nintendo 3DS videos publicly viewable again until they fix it. So on the day that YouTube says from now on you need to actually provide legal proof that you own something to flag it on YouTube for copyright, and we actually are going to have humans check the information so that we call the phone number and make sure it's legit and we confirm you're a real person trying to fucking do this. Until they do that, those Nintendo 3DS playthroughs will be private. The day they fix the problem and the system's better, they'll go live again. Okay? Because I cannot risk having DSP Gaming taken down with more false copyright strikes and shit because of that nonsense. All right? Moving forward, I could do 3DS playthroughs. I just can't have backgrounds. So instead of having the backgrounds like I used to have with art of the games, it'll just be generic. I'll blue or whatever. And I'll just have two boxes, one big one for one screen and one for the other. But I haven't been asked to play one 3DS game this year. And it's funny because the end of last year was like an abundance. You had Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. You had Tomodachi Life that I played. You had what was the one that I played recently? Shit. Was it oh my god, Ocarina of Time, not Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask 3DS, right? There were a few big ones all within a few months span that I played on the 3DS and got some, pretty decent following. Did any of it, wow, amazing? No, but it was fun to play those games. I could still do new 3DS games. It just would not have any fan art or any background to it. But the bottom line is, to my knowledge, nothing good has come out or nothing that people would want me to see has come out. And this year I've gotten, besides Majora's Mask in February, I haven't gotten one request for a 3DS game, and that's why I'm not doing them right now. Okay? Bassoon Girl asks, since the holiday season is here, what are some of your favorite Christmas songs and carols? Two of my favorites, Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg. That one's one of my favorites. In particular, also, you've got, what is it? Jack Frost roasting on an open fire. Chestnuts nipping at your nose. Stuff like that's pretty good. All right, that was a silly question. Omar asks, Phil, I'm wondering, will DLCs affect your Game of the Year picks, or will you review them separately? DLCs never factor into my Game of the Year pick. Ever. Because when I'm reviewing Game of the Year, it's the core game. DLCs are just that. Expandable DLC content, and should never factor into someone's Game of the Year pick because it's a separate product. The core product is what I rank and review in my Game of the Year rewards, and that's what you're going to see regardless of if I liked or disliked DLCs. Okay? All right. On to Twitter and Facebook questions. The first one is from Herman Rodriguez. And he says, Phil, do you believe that the season passes will be the new thing for gaming? Every game now offers it. What do you think about them? I've said this before and I'll say it again. Season passes for the most part are garbage. Primarily what season passes are an excuse for a game developer to do some really crappy expansion content that probably should have been in the core game and cram it in with maybe one or two pieces of great content and then sell it for an overinflated price. Perfect example here, Batman Arkham Knight. Sold a $50 season pass, or was it $40? I forget. No one knew what was going to be in it. Everyone ran out and bought it because Arkham Knight was such a great game. Then come to find out of all that, there was one great story-based DLC right after that, the release of the game. Great. Then it was a crappy little one, challenge map skin, crappy little one, challenge map skin. And the bottom line is, since that original expansion from back in July, there hasn't been one piece of Batman Arkham Knight Season Pass worth playing. There's supposed to be one coming out in December called Season of Infamy, where I guess you get to either see other Gotham villains or play as Gotham villains. That one could be pretty cool, but Season Passes, as of right now, yes, they are a scam. They're an additional revenue stream for a company to put in little or no effort to get your money, and I am not buying any more of them. Even the Fallout 4 Season Pass, I'm going to hold off, and if I want the DLCs, I'm going to buy them separately. Okay, next question is from Superboy0420, and he asks, what is your favorite food or restaurant? It's funny now because now that I live on the West Coast and I can't get a lot of food, I find myself craving things such as Italian pizza and Italian dishes like chicken or veal parmesan or real Italian pasta. East Coast style is so different than what's available out here, and that absolutely is some of my favorite food. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, my favorite Italian restaurant that I've ever been to is Vinny's Pizzeria in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I absolutely love their freaking pizza. It's great. Okay, next question is from Tiger Powered, or Brian Burke. Some people might know who he is. He says, do you believe that women's wrestling will ever be good in the WWE? I think that the first step to change is reviving the women's title. The only thing I have to say about that is this. I don't think that there is women's wrestling in the WWE. There's not, right? Because it's the Divas title. It's not women's wrestling. It's not the women's championship. It's the Divas title. And the WWE goes outside of their way, right? They go out of their way to cram it down your throat. These are not female wrestlers. These are divas. And so when they have total divas on the E! Network, and there's the divas this, divas that, diva, which, by the way, the word diva actually isn't a positive word. It actually has a negative association and connotation. If you actually look up the word diva, it's like a woman who kind of has like almost an elitist complex. She thinks that she's this big deal. She's draws a lot of attention to herself, but at the same time, she'll make a scene and she'll make a stink, and she wants, you know what I mean? That's a diva. I wouldn't necessarily say that diva is a good thing to be called, but WWE wants to make it their own fucking thing, and, you know, there is no serious women's wrestling. Now, there are women wrestlers, women like Paige, women like Charlotte. They could put on great matches. They have put on great matches in NXT, but as soon as it hits the mainstream television product, whoever's in charge says, go out there and do shit. Don't go the extra mile. Don't do a great wrestling match. We want garbage. And how is it that we just had people like Sasha Banks and Bayley just had the first ever women's Iron Man match, which should be the Iron Woman match, in my opinion. I don't know why they called it a women's Iron Man match. It was amazing. You watched the match. Was it the best wrestling I've ever seen? No. But it damn well was great women's wrestling. Great quality stuff. You could tell they both killed themselves in this match. That is a match that should be held in high regard. Of course, if they ever have an actual match on WWE regular TV, they'll be fucking terrible. The Bellas will run in. There'll be 5 botches. It'll be fucking garbage. WWE doesn't have women's wrestling. It has divas wrestling. I stand by that statement. And until they get rid of that shit and they have a women's title, they will never be taken seriously. And that's what I say. Here's what should really happen. If they really want women's wrestling, get a woman wrestler who's well known, right, from NXT or whatever. She comes to the WWE. She runs through everyone. She wins the women's title. Or, I'm sorry, she wins the Divas title. She lifts it up. And just like Medusa did when she jumped ship to WCW, she takes that fucking piece of shit title and she fucking throws it in the trash can. And she says, that's worthless. Now we're going to have a real women's division. And they have a real title and they take it seriously. Then I'll care. But no one's going to care. There is no divas, or there is no women's revolution. It's a divas revolution. And it's a waste of fucking time. All right, the last question. Oh, I take it back. There's 2 more questions. One from Preston Bellows. He says, what did you think about Raw losing views after Survivor Series? Again, another wrestling question. I'm not surprised, because Survivor Series was supposed to be a tournament series building up and crowning a new champion. And there are lots of people in that series that would have gotten over, like Cesaro, like Dean Ambrose. There were people in there, Kevin Owens, I think. Anyone in there who's an up-and-comer who really has been putting in the work and who the people might get behind. But no, we're going to put on Roman Reigns, who WWE has pushed to the moon, but everyone agrees is green on the mic. He's okay in the ring. He doesn't seem to be that top-level guy yet, but WWE, oh, he's Samoan, and he's The Rock's cousin. He's got to be the champion. And they've been trying all year to push it on him. They finally do push it on him. Of course, people won't accept him, so what do? Have Sheamus cash in the Money in the Bank. So now Sheamus, who really has nothing has been done with Sheamus in how long? He's a joke. He has not been pushed as a legitimate any kind of force in the WWE in a couple years. When he won Money in the Bank, everyone groaned and said, why the fuck are you putting it on him? But here's another example. Do you know that Sheamus used to be the workout partner of Triple H before he worked for the company? And Triple H saw him and was so impressed by this guy's physique that he wanted to make him a WWE wrestler. So he did, and then he pushed him. If you didn't know this, one of the first major victories Sheamus ever had, he went over clean on Triple H, which never happens, ever. So Triple H's guy versus probably Vince's guy, and now they're at the top of the company. Well, gee, did anyone ask for Roman or Sheamus to be at the top of the company? No. So why do you think the ratings plummeted the night after Survivor Series? It's pretty self-explanatory. All right, and the final question, and this will end Ask the King for this month, from Jeff Sykin. What is your favorite thing in Fallout 4 so far? You know, I could easily say that it's the personality. It's the fact that the story seemed to be a little bit better. It's the fact that the cutscenes now, you can actually see your character and you've got a voice. I could say that the gunplay's been improved. I can say a lot of things. But for me, it's the incredible amount of content when it comes to meaningful plot lines. Previously, Fallout had a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was repetitive. And not to say there's not repetitive side stuff in this game, but even some of the repetitive side stuff feels kind of like you're contributing or you're going towards something, a big goal, a big win, right? And in that regard, I like that. There's so many characters. There's more followers in this game than ever before. There's more to do in this game than ever before. And here I am, over 2 weeks into Fallout 4. Over 100 parts into the playthrough. And I'm just about halfway through the main story of the game, supposedly. And it looks like I'm going to be playing it for several more weeks. And I'm happy with that. I'm fine. This is a game that you pay $60 and you play and play and play and play and play. And that's awesome. And I'm not getting bored. I'm not feeling like at any time I'm wasting my time. And man, I can't wait to get past this grind part to get to a good part. No. Everything I'm doing is entertaining me. I'm loving the game. So that is what I like about Fallout 4. That's it for Ask the King, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, as always. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are in the United States. I'll see you next time, which should be in late December, early January, depending on when I get a chance to do it. Remember, Patreon, we've only got 5 days left to pledge and hit that goal. I want to do a fun marathon at the end of the year for you. I hope we can hit the goal. Thank you to everyone for watching. Peace out. Until next time, keep submitting your questions on the King of Hate forums. And who knows, maybe next month, you'll get your question answered. Peace out, everybody.